Welcome back to another preview episode of Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Howard here with my co-host Tony LaMonica, aka Boxhead98TL, previewing the great matchup here. The 2-1 Georgia Swarm come to Banditland right before the new year, take on the defending 2023 champion Buffalo Bandits. Tony, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Trevor. It's a great expected game to play tonight. We got the 2-1 Georgia Swarm coming in after sweeping Colorado Mammoth this year so far.
Yeah.
That's another thing to be reckoned with. If they could sweep them, that could be a little red flag danger zone for coming into the KeyBank Center. But again, it's going to come down to controlling the game, winning the battles that they need to, and scoring more goals than the opposition.
I definitely agree more. I think Georgia is a really good team. As you know, if we're looking 3 games in, I think they look like a good team, sweeping Colorado, like you said. But at the same point, I made the joke to anyone that watches the Bandits. I said, I think the Bandits broke the Colorado Mammoth. I think the Bandits absolutely diffused that team because they were 9-9. They were hanging on to dear life for a playoff spot last year. They come into Buffalo in Game 3 and get absolutely shit spanked, 13-4. I think we derailed that team. But you also can't deny the fact that, hey, man, Georgia's got some great talent on that team. They were 2017 champions for a reason. They had a couple tough years in between, but it seems that they found their stride again.
Yeah, I could say so too, because you got the brothers of the Thompsons. You got Lyle, Miles, and Jeremy looking really, really strong for them this year so far. And with that being said, that's a dangerous line, like our dangerous line is with Josh Byrne, Chris Cloutier, and Dane Smith.
Yep.
Now it all comes down to who uses each other chemistry-wise better to provide the goals that the offense needs, and also which defense is going to provide protection for their goaltenders tonight too as well. I mean, look at Dobson. He looked phenomenal in Colorado, how he was making save after save after save and locking it down and shutting out the Mammoth
on the
as
bounce
much as he
shot
possibly
too.
can.
The
Yes, of
bounce
course.
shot, what he was locking that zone down. It was a lot of the goals that he gave up were over the shoulder. The bounce shot is the toughest one to stop. So I give Dobson a lot of credit for that. That's the toughest shot to save in the sport of lacrosse.
Yes, it is. It's always confusing. It could misdirect any possible way wherever you throw the ball to. And again, with having good keen hand-eye coordination, he was able to stop them. And that's something the Bandits have got to try to do, is to, mix it up a little bit. Like, not too much, but stick with the plan, but also got to kind of tweak it a little bit so it throws them off guard, which Dobson's going to have to expect against the defending champs.
Yeah, I think if there was a team to kind of slow down this little fast and fiery Georgia Swarm team, it's definitely the world champions. But they also want a little piece of, they want a piece of us too. They say we can hang with these guys. So I think even before we even say the score prediction, I had this being a close contested game, very physical. I don't know what the penalty sheet's going to look like. I think it's going to be very physical. We're going to see if the referees are going to let the boys go or not, let them play. It's really going to be you're really going to see how the style of game is going to be, right after maybe the first couple minutes of the game or the first face-off. Look at how many whacks of the stick you're going to see. Look how many hip checks, look how many body checks you're going to see. And that will set the tone of the game. If the Bandits come out swinging, it is going to be tough to stop that team. Once they're in a groove, it's tough to derail them.
Yes, it is. I mean, Georgia likes to just keep on, like their name says, they swarm the net. And what they do is they like to not only start with one goal, but they keep on going. They don't want to have the opposition come back and really put any pressure on them. So they're in attack first and then maybe coast later. But if they continue and play through the whole game, I'm not saying the whole 60 minutes, it could be a dangerous task for the Buffalo Bandits to surpass. And you know what? I mean, I think our defense is not too shabby. I mean, right now we're still trying to, gel in Cam Wires and also get some of the rookies in. But again, we also have to realize we have one of the best goaltenders in the game still at the age that he's at. And you know what? That's also something that they've got to prove to score up against. I mean, I'm not saying any disrespect towards any of the Thompson brothers or the team itself, because they do have the firing power, which they possibly could beat Vince tonight.
And we know Jeremy very well. He was a former Bandit too. So
he was a former Bandit too, but we also got to remember to contain the speed. And that's, like they've been doing. They've been enclosing the box, pretty much not seeing Vince do it all. But again, the defense is making sure there's no real good shots to be taken by the opposition.
I call Georgia a finesse team. They always score the pretty goals.
I like that.
They always get the pretty passes and they score the pretty goals. The
Hmm.
Bandits are the smash mouth in your face style team. They will score the dirty goal. They will get down and dirty and take a couple whacks to score a goal. Brandon Robinson, that guy, I don't know how after every single game, how does he get up the next morning and walk without feeling sore? That dude
Mm.
gets cross-checked, whacked in front of the net all the time during the games. He's got to be feeling that a bunch, but we always shovel in the dirty goals. They're not always the prettiest goals, unless you get a Josh Byrne to Hoke and Anacoke style kind of goal. But we're more that in-your-face physical smash mouth team, and to see that go up against a finesse team, this is going to be, whether you're a Georgia fan or a Buffalo fan, this is going to be a great game to watch.
Yeah, I think the National Lacrosse League is going to make it big for ESPN Plus and also for CW23, of course, to hear local news in Buffalo.
And this game's
But
on
again,
WGR. The Bandits are going to get some national radio time too on
this is
WGR
great. This is
Sports
good
Radio
news for them.
550. Yep.
Basically, what they're going to have to do, like you said, it's a smash mouth game, and you're going to have to go up against the finesse of Georgia. But the only thing you have to worry about now is that they're not going to be like the run and gun, take the shot kind of thing. They're going to create some plays where they're going to try some behind the nets, diving towards the goaltender,
Yep.
roll dodges and all that. Yeah, I believe it. But, that's what you have to expect against these guys because they create some pretty spectacular goals, especially with Georgia coming into town. They may or may not have our number. Last year they didn't, obviously, because we were just outscoring them like crazy and just outplaying them.
A lot
Like
of those
they
games were very. I think there was one really close game. Maybe it was 11-10 at home. I
Yeah, but
think.
other than that, we've really dominated their style. And it's just, what? Do we keep at it or do we tweak a little bit to make things different because we have some new faces? I don't know. But I think the Bandits are going to do just fine. But it will be an epic game to watch.
Oh, it definitely will. We can get into the players to watch right now. Let's start off with the
Yes.
opposition in the Georgia Swarm. We already
Sure.
mentioned Thompson, Thompson, and Thompson. We got the Thompson
Mm-hmm.
triplet line there. We got Jeremy, Miles, Lyle. I call Lyle Thompson LaDainian Tomlinson or Derrick Henry or Adrian Peterson in his prime. You're not
Mm-hmm.
going to contain him
No.
to less than 20 yards.
Nope.
So what you want to do with Lyle is if you hold him to 1 goal, 2 goals, you are winning this game. Lyle Thompson is my number one player to watch, number one circled on the roster. If
Mm.
you're not going to hold him to 0, likely he's going to find an
No.
open lane, he's going to score. But if you hold him to 2 goals or less, there's a good shot that the Bandits are going to win that game. But Lyle Thompson, that dude, I mean, he is a wizard out there. The guy makes great passes. He always finds the shot he wants to take. He's a weapon. He's a reason why Georgia is as competitive as they are.
Yeah, surprisingly too. I mean, even though they don't get recognition from moving from Minnesota down to Georgia, and the only time when they really had the spotlight on them was, like you said, in 2017.
Yep.
I mean, they've had their falters, but yet they just seem to not quit. It's that good attitude, that good vibe that keeps fans coming in and watching this team play. But again, like you said, Lyle Thompson is a great pick to watch today because that's who the team is. It's about Lyle Thompson. He makes Georgia who they are today. But my go-to guy is their goaltender, and that's Dobson, because look at how well he has played for the last 3 games. Not succumb their only loss, which was against who they lose to. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a good question.
Vancouver, I believe they lost
yeah.
to.
I think it was
They lost to the Warriors. But
Warriors.
other than that, with the way how they swept Colorado, good grief. I mean, do we ask a better? I'm not saying about Matt Vince not doing it, but Dobson, this could be a goaltender we might be tested against. It may not be against like Nick Rose, where you have to shoot low. It may not be against Dylan Ward, where you have to do the fancy one-timer. You better
Zach Higgins with the 5-hole,
Yeah. Yep. So this could be like, you better pick a spot that's going to get them weak, and then other than that, exploit it. If you don't, it could swing Georgia's way.
And I think when you mentioned Dobson's gameplay, they didn't just beat Colorado. They beat them 15-8 in the Loud House. They beat them in Denver, a place where we haven't won since before the COVID shutdown. I think Josh Byrne scored the OT winner in Denver to win like 16-15 or something. It was a shootout back and forth between those guys. So they're making their mark, and with the whole new playoff format, they're going to be that sneaky team. I don't even think sneaky is the right word. I think they're going to be that good team that's going to get a top 4 spot as far as right now goes. But Dobson is a great pick too. I want to look at a physical defender as well. Let's look at Adam Weidman. Adam Weidman is that 6'1" guy. He's going to be that in-your-face type of player. I believe Brad McCulley had his way with him last year in the home game against Georgia, where he just beat the absolute snot out of him. But he's going to be that guy that takes the that wants to instigate you. He's going to be the guy that wants to bait you to take a stupid penalty. He's the guy
Right.
that's going to body you in front of the net. Dobson is a great goalie, but when you have Weidman in front of the net, he's not going to let that shovel shot go in the net. He's not going to let, your Brandon Robinsons really attempt to shovel in and score that garbage goal, shovel in the
Mm-hmm.
garbage type of goal. He's going to do all he can. He's one of those hard hitters in front of the net. If you're going to compare him to like an NHL defender that, helps out his goaltender, I look at a guy like Chris Pronger from
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, or if, like a modern day Adam Fox, but I think he's probably a
Sure.
couple inches taller than Adam Fox. But Adam Weidman for sure is the key defender to watch.
Yeah, Weidman has definitely proven he's like Adam Bomberry. He's got the same size, same built, and he's just shows that tough, gritty toughness that's what the defense needs, is that you're not going to get the easy goals anymore from the side that he's on. He's going to make sure you work for it. He's going to make sure you battle for it. He's going to make sure you go to the very end where it comes down to who's gonna flinch first. And he's a tough defender on Georgia's team who's we're gonna have to watch out for sure. But I'm sure that Johnny T has not only looked at their roster, but he's also looked at ours and seen what we can throw against them as much as they can throw against us. But Weidman is a very good choice.
Andrew Q's up there as well, just to throw another name out there. Andrew Q, I believe, has been there since the Minnesota days, if I'm not mistaken. He's been there a long time. So he's a vet on that team. Same with Lyle Thompson, same with the other guys that we mentioned before. They've been switching out in and out goalies for a couple of years, experimenting, but I think they got their guy in Dobson. Key players to watch for the Bandits. There's one guy who's overdue, in my opinion, on the score sheet. 92, the great Dane Smith. He is due for a breakout game. He can get you 8-9 assists a game, no problem. He's still due. He's overdue for that 4 or 5 goal game.
Yeah, Dane Smith has been very, very on the low side, not scoring goals, but setting up big. That's what we like, because Josh Byrne and Chris Kluche have been taking their turns and scoring the goals. But like you said, Dane Smith is probably saying, okay, I've had enough of passing. It's time for me to start scoring. It's time for me to get back on that goal sheet. So I'd love to get them chances and opportunities, which he has. And I'm not saying he hasn't, taken his chances, but he's been hitting posts. He's been hitting the goaltender itself, but nearly getting his goal mark that he wants to. But it's just he needs a little bit of space that he needs to score just to get back into the goal column. But again, like you said, Dane Smith, it's time to wake up in the goal column, sir.
Yes, it is, for sure. And, he's the NLL Finals MVP for a reason. He's going to find the back of the net. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And tonight's a great start. Right before the New Year starts, start your resolution early, Dane. Be more greedy and shoot the ball more, because we know you can score.
Yes, he can.
Another one to watch. I mean, stay hot. 48, Matt Vince, right? Stay hot. I was told after the Albany game that he was washed and too old, and we should look at drafting goalies in the draft this year. Out of your mind. You are out of your mind. If there's a player that's going to attempt to shut down all 3 Thompsons, it's the best friggin' goalie in the National Lacrosse League, and that's number 48, Matty Vino Vince.
Yeah, Vince has definitely proven time and time again, age does not matter in his book, because he's come back. He's proven people wrong. He shut them up. Basically said, guys, I still have it. I don't care what you say. And this is the reason why we re-signed him to a 2-year deal, because he loves the sport. He loves the competition. And he just is so good at the visual aid of, just stopping some great names like Thompson, or, if Dane Smith was against him in Rochester, or say, good Lord, Robinson's.
Facing against guys like Tom Schreiber 3 times a year in Toronto. Yep.
So again, Matt Vince is that go-to goaltender that you're just happy to have in between the pipes. And believe me, guys, when I say this, is that Matt Vince is going nowhere for 2 years. He might re-sign for another year. Depends if he wants another ring. If he gets his other ring, maybe he might retire. But until then, he's locked.
You think that guy doesn't want to win another ring? Get out of
here.
He
does.
He wants to win another one, and then the one after that.
He wants to fill up both hands.
Yeah, he's got 2 years on his contract. That's 2 attempts to get 2 more rings. So
that's right.
That's what you got to do. Any key players to watch for you, Tony?
I think, if you got a hot stick, you might as well keep letting him shoot. And that's Josh Byrne. Double 2 is that he needs to keep doing what he does, and they need to keep feeding him the ball, because no matter what you say, he may be a ball hog, but if he's going to score the goals at will, and he's going to score with a high percentage rate of shots, believe me, you want to keep him shooting. You want to keep him scoring the goals. But again, there's another thing saying that he's got a big target on his back. And, we also have the depth to do it. We've got Chris Kluche, who's got a
Yep.
great left-handed shot.
Phrase. Yep.
We got Fraze and Tahoka when he needs to step up and score goals, he will do so also. And like you said before, and I forgot, I wanted to raise a question because you said
Sure.
Brandon Robinson gets hammered in the net.
Oh, he does.
Tahoka takes a beating every game.
He takes an ass
He
whooping.
gets in front of the net and he will get himself crushed for a reason in that open lane for where anybody else can shoot and score, because that's what he does. He provides that lane.
It's just like Thomas Vanek back in the day. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Vanek in front of the net, he'd always take a beating.
Lord.
Oh, my God.
Slash after slash, and he just keeps on grinding. That's
shoveling the rebound goals. I have respect for the finesse players like Josh Byrne, but the players that take the ass whooping every single night, multiple times a year, like Robinson and Tahoka and Fraser, like those guys, they got my respect a bunch because that shows toughness as well as their goal scoring ability. They know how to score. That's the ultimate two-way forward, which I love. So. You mentioned him. I want to throw a defender out there who really stepped it up in the last home game. We're obviously missing Bomberry, which absolutely sucks. We're also missing Bryce Sweeting, which absolutely sucks. But Justin Martin, that dude has been lights out locking it down in his own zone. You know, you mentioned a guy who could play strong defense. You know, you think of guys like Sweeting, you think of guys like Bomberry, you think of transitions like Ian McKay, who definitely are underrated on this team. But Justin Martin, call a spade a spade. The guy has been letting nothing go by him. He's been throwing body checks, and he's been setting up great outlet passes for the offense to go down the field and score.
Yeah, absolutely. Martin has really proven time and time again that he is one of the go-to defenders, and he has proven that a little body can be a big part of the history of the Buffalo Bandits defense, especially the fact how he transitioned from that final championship game, how he was nothing but locked down, and to now he's really stepped up for this defense. And that's how much that these guys appreciate the guys who will go the distance and show the toughness and also keep them in check. I mean, what else can you ask for from a defender
like
that size?
Blue collar guys, right? Blue collar lunch pail type of players who they might not lead the website and jersey sales, but you definitely know their name after the game. Like they show up and work every single day. Those are your blue collar lunch pail type of guys, and I respect guys like Justin Martin and other players like Carter McKenzie. You really don't know the player, but when you see them on the field, you can't miss them because they make great defensive plays.
I agree. I couldn't agree more to that comment. I've got nothing to add to that. That was spot on right at that. So, yeah, good job on that one.
I think it's time for our score predictions. 7:30 face-off tonight at the KeyBank Center. We're playing the Georgia Swarm. Mentioned before, Finesse team versus Smashmouth team, the defending world champions. First year with season tickets for me. I'm not seeing a loss tonight, Tony. Just not going to happen. It's going to be close. I'm not seeing a loss. I'm going to say Bandits take this. Trap game, absolutely, for sure. I feel like every time we play these guys, maybe outside of a couple, is usually a trap game against Georgia. But 13-11, I think that sounds pretty good for the Bandits. 13-11 is going to be my score prediction. I'm going to say Dane Smith gets 4 goals, 3 assists for a 7-point night for the Great Dane.
Nice. For me, it's going to be a little bit higher, but not as well, a little bit closer too. I'm going to go with Buffalo 14, Georgia 13. It's going to be a nail biter. It's going to be a back. I've got a feeling it's going to be a back and forth battle. After the score predictions that I was saying, keys to the game is going to be key to what we're going to see.
How do we forget?
Have to win.
How in the world did we forget that?
No. I got a first key to the game, and that's going to be win the loose ball battle, because let me tell you, watching last game against the Seals and how many opportunities and getting outshot that game, they've won the loose ball battle as much as possible and kept it in our zone for way too long. So I'm not saying because of the power plays in that, but I'm saying because during anything, even strength and whatever, they've won more of the loose ball battle. So we have to get better on that section right there.
And
what do you think, Trevor?
Loose balls matter even more because you don't have that Fogo guy. So chances are you're not going to win the faceoff battle. I could say a key to the game is to win as many faceoffs as possible. I'm going into this one saying we're not going to win many faceoffs. Like that's just not going to happen. So loose balls, big plays on defense, you have to scoop them up. I'm talking 2 hands. We're not raking. We're not scooping up with 1 hand.
No.
That's elementary. We can't do that. Scoop it up with 2 hands because you're not going to win as many faceoffs. So if you want more possessions, lay more stick checks, lay more body checks, and scoop those loose balls. Second key to the game. What I was thinking, fast-paced passing. If they're going to be finesse, why don't you play their game too? Why don't you become a
Yep.
little bit of finesse team and, beat them in their own game? So fast-paced passing, keep the defenders on their toes the whole time. Maybe catch them flat-footed from time to time and catch them napping.
Yeah, you got to definitely take away their passing lanes too, because if they create plays and they make sure the score, take their, wow, I could talk, their scoring opportunities and their chances by just getting off on the one timers, like we have to try to do that too as well. I mean, keeping up with how with Kyle Buchanan and Brad McCulley has been setting up that 1-2
Yep,
one timer. I think that's going to help us win this game too. But again, the straight shots going to Dobson, maybe so if you really have him beat by a spot.
smart
But
shots.
most likely, you got to keep him moving. You got to keep the big guy moving. Otherwise, you're not going to have much room to shoot. So other than that, yeah, I agree to the one-timer thing.
Yeah, when you get him in a rhythm, it's tough to
Mhm.
beat. So come out fast and come out quick because if he's making saves, he doesn't even have to move. He's going to say this is easy. He's going to build up that confidence, and then they're going to go down and score. So if you
Yeah.
get to him early, get him questioning every single shot earlier, he's going to be like, what the hell? What the hell do I do? Like this is going to be a rough 60 minutes for me. So I agree with that too. Fast pace. I'm going to say quick shots. Third key of the game. Quick shots. Restraining line if there's a lane. Find the guy in front of the net. Dip, dunk, whatever you got to do. Quick shots is the big key there.
Yeah, I agree, because that's the only way you're going to beat these guys. If you got to keep making the defense guess, that's what you want to do, is keep them guessing, not knowing the game plan, not knowing your style. I mean, obviously they probably watched the tape of the last 2 games we played. They may take some notes off the Albany game, most likely, because after watching the Bandits deal with the Seals, I mean, that's a more containment that could help us in the long run. But if they know how to break the containment, then that could be a problem for us later in the season.
Yep, and I think last keys probably they're gonna poke at you a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Like all
know,
teams have last year.
Yep. They know that you're the champions. They're gonna poke at you, try to get you to bait you into taking a penalty. So
Don't
beat
take
them,
stupid penalties.
beat them where it matters the most. If they're gonna instigate you, beat them on the
Beat them on the
scoreboard.
scoreboard.
Don't
Exactly.
beat
I
them in the
agree.
penalty box. Yeah, I mean, we don't need that. Have them take the instigator. Have them take the roughing penalty, and then you score on that power play because the Bandits, they've only played 2 games, and they have, I think, a top 3 power play in the entire league. So if you get them to take a penalty, that's huge. That opens up
Yeah.
another player that's open, and you can run that house formation. You can run the Princeton, I think is what it's called, the Princeton formation, where they set one guy up behind the net and they make it in like a little house shape. Set
Yeah.
up Princeton, go in and score.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a sweet game plan. I never even heard of the Princeton until you explained that to me. So well done.
Well, it's a field lacrosse term, but I think they use the same thing in box too. I got to ask Johnny T if he's running Princeton in practice, but it's going to be a good game. You predicted 14-13 regulation or overtime?
Regulation.
Yep.
I'm not. If I say overtime, I'm not going to see it go the other way. So no overtime for me.
Overtime. That's always a unique experience being in that building during an overtime. You feel like you could hear a pin drop, and then they finally score that goal and the place erupts. But 13-11 for me, 14-13 for you. This has been Banditland Boulevard. Tony, hit us with the sponsor.
Yeah, guys, so if you guys ever want to have the best beef wick in town up north on Sheridan Drive at 734 Sheridan Drive, go check out Mitchell's Tavern. They've got all the bar foods, all the great, the best beef wick in town, as much as they said they want. If you guys want a good, they got deals every day, beer choices you want. Mention us here at Banditland Boulevard just to say, hey, these guys mentioned us. They wanted to see for ourselves. So go check out Mitchell's Tavern.
Absolutely. And I think with that, Tony, before we sign off, we only have 3 words to say before this big game against Georgia. What are those?
Before we do say,
what are those 3 words?
Before we do say those 3 words, I forgot also we want to have all you YouTubers out there come and like and subscribe our channel. Give us that rating that you guys want to hear. Hit that notification bell every time we pop up. And also to all the Buffalo Bandit fans or even lacrosse fans across watching this, if you guys want to chime in and ask us questions or fill us in on some knowledge of the lacrosse that maybe we don't know, but you do, that would be great to have you on board. We'd love to have you on the show. We'd also like to thank our listeners on every device possible, radio, phone, you name it, on Spotify.fm and Anchor.
Everywhere.
We would love to have you guys give us a rating. If you guys like listening to us on this show, we would like to continue what we're doing. I mean, like we said, 3 years ago, we just started off, and now we've been getting more and more viewers. So we thank all those who watch, and we thank all those who listen.
Awesome. Sounds good. How about the 3 words? But I always forget what those 3 words are.
Do you know
Yeah,
them
you
or
got you
do
got
I
you
know?
got you
I
got to
think
help
I
me out
know
with
them.
those three
I
words.
got it. Let's do it in
Let's do
three,
it in three. Yep.
2, 1.
Let's
Let's
go
go
Bandits.
Bandits.
Let's go.
Let's freaking go, boys.
Woo.